the Minnesota Wild podcast, presented by Acrisure.
Broadcasting from the 651 Carpets, home of the Next Day Install Studios. This is FM 100.3 KFXN, Minneapolis, St. Paul, The Fan, an iHeartRadio station. Guaranteed human. From the ponds to the pros, it's time for Beyond the Pond on The Fan. Here are your hosts, Pat Micheletti and Kevin Falness.
Let's talk hockey!
Beyond the Pond, back at full strength for the first time in a few weeks, and it's nice to be back in the saddle. Kevin Falness, along with the great Pat Micheletti, Brett Blakemore back behind the glass. Good to see you, Patrick.
Were we off last week?
Sort of. We had a 30-minute show.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
A 30-minute show going into, I believe, college basketball. The week before, I think that must have been a short one. Yeah, that was like an hour or something like that. And I think I was in St. Paul going into a Wild broadcast.
I know we got bumped for Gopher basketball.
We did last week. And that was disappointing. And that falls on the University of Minnesota and Nico Medved, if you ask me. For them to schedule a Big Ten basketball game up against what's supposed to be Beyond the Pond,
yeah.
Slap in my face. Slap in our face.
Yeah.
Do they not know who you are?
I'm glad you included Brett and I.
So anyway.
He's on the mural, for God's sake.
I know, that's what I mean.
Cutting this guy out.
Well, we got through it, and here we are, back at full strength.
We are. It's great to be back.
We're going to talk a lot of Minnesota Wild and NHL this show because we've got a great guest or array coming up. We got Michael Russo of The Athletic and theathletic.com at 11, Bill Guerin at 11:35. But we've got some positivity to talk about with your Golden Gophers.
Yes.
What a fun game that was last night against Wisconsin.
Well, they've been working hard. They've been playing good defensively. They've been getting great goaltending, but they've just had a hard time scoring goals. Their power play has been phenomenal, and really has kept them in a lot of games. But they got some 5-on-5 goals last night and played really hard against a Wisconsin team that's really good. But they can't get a win. That's 5 in a row. For the Badgers, but you know what? The Badgers are a good team. I mean, they're a really good team, and so yes, it was good to get a win and get some confidence for this team.
That the Badgers scored that one goal. It was a fluke. It goes straight up in the air, comes back. DePasco had zero idea where that thing was.
No one did, right? And they
it almost happened a second time,
right?
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Brody Zemer, right, who jumped up in the air and knocked it down, but. Yeah, the shot came from the point, hit the guy's skate, and no one saw the puck and goes over the top of DePasco, who, by the way, I don't want to say he's the best goalie in the country, but he's playing like the best goalie in the country. He's been phenomenal for the Gophers, has taken over the number one spot, and he's ran with it.
It's great because coming into the season, you didn't know what you had, right? It was either going to be Erie, it might have been DePasco. We didn't know who was going to grab the reins. Right. But as the season has wore on, and last night was a great example of that, he's taken the number one spot, grabbed the reins, and he's holding on tight.
It's he really has. He backed up Trey Augustine at Michigan State a year ago. Only played, I think it was only 2 games, and I remember talking to Adam Nightingale, the head coach of Michigan State. And DePasco had played a couple games. I said, "Tell me about this kid." He said, "Oh, you know what? We would have no issue playing him if Augustine, who was the number one pick and the best goalie in college hockey, went down." And so the Gophers are lucky to get him. And now, after he's playing a few more games, he's really getting his rhythm And what do you need going into the playoffs? And I think the Gophers are in the mode of, okay, we got to find a way to win. How are we going to win our games once we get to the playoffs? And so, they found their goalie, and you need and you need great goaltending. Their D-core is, unfortunately, they don't produce a lot from the back end. They only have 3 goals on the year. Very, very odd for a Gopher hockey team not to have that in their arsenal. But they have 3 guys that have over 50 block shots in 22, 23 games that they've 25. I don't know how many they played, But, Cal Thomas has been a rock. Luke Middlestead is not going to get the accolades that he should. Plays 28 minutes a night in every situation. No one competes harder. He has over 50 blocks. And John Whipple, a sophomore who didn't play a lot last year, is really come into his own and really, starting to play some darn good hockey for Minnesota. And then you got the big guy, Jacob Rombach, who's 6'5", 6'6", and as a freshman, he's starting to come along. And, Leo Gruba, unfortunately, he's had a lot of, he's a really, really good defenseman. He's had a lot of injuries this year. He's finally starting to get healthy. So, you never know. They're playing much better, even though they're 1-7 in their last 8.
Yep.
Playing much better, and, let's see if they can carry that forward tonight.
Full disclosure, I watched the game on mute last night, not because of anything against you or the other guy. It wasn't because of anything.
Who's the other guy?
Jim Rich, the esteemed Jim Rich. Let me just say, I was at a gathering, so I was lucky enough to get these guys weren't hockey fans.
Hey, my partner on the Beyond the Pond is on. Let's watch him.
I know, I tried, but
let's listen to what he has to say.
I was just lucky to get the hockey game on. Let's put it that way. So I'm watching it in the background. How close did DePasquale come to scoring that goal? Because it looked to me like Osborne pulled that. I don't know how that.
It was like a defensive back looking back to find the ball, or a wide receiver, and he just turned.
I can't believe he knocked that out of midair.
Yeah, and DePasquale had so much time. Yeah. I don't know. I think Wisconsin dumped it in, and he went back behind the net to get it. And I don't know if Wisconsin was on a change or what, but he looked and he had not. I'm like, and I was yelling in the booth, shoot it, shoot it. Then he got to the front of the net, lined himself up, and gave it, a double. It was going in. Double whammy, right? Just kind of, wound up and got it, and it was going in. It was going in. Yeah. Brett, don't you think?
I don't know why the Badgers are dumping it in on a 6-on-4. Because you're on the penalty kill as well.
Yeah.
So, and you're dumping and chasing and that. I just thought, but that was going in 100%.
Oh, the fans would have loved it.
I didn't hear your call, and I did look for. You didn't. I know. I wasn't saying that as a rip. I did watch the broadcast.
I listened to like 95%.
That's a lie.
I do. Of Wild pregame show with you.
95%. So like 7 minutes.
No, of all the games.
I gotcha.
Yeah, but that's okay.
It wasn't a rip because I was trying to throw a dig in there. No, I was at a gathering surrounded by people who did not care about hockey. So the fact that I got it on
that's a way to grow the game.
And I had it on.
But you gotta scream it out.
I tried. I did my best. My point was, I don't know what it sounded like from you guys on the call for the DePasquale opportunity. I would love to hear Wally's. I got to go back and track that down. I tried to find it this morning.
And you didn't find it?
Nope. I'll track it down.
And you're a radio guy.
I know. Well, everything's top secret. You got to have a password for everything. So I'm sure I'll track it down. Yeah. But it did look like the crowd was having some fun. This is a crowd that shows up on a night in, night out basis and probably didn't have high, I don't know, maybe they did. I don't think they had high expectations going up against the number 8 team in the country. Yeah. But that looked like a lot of fun last night.
Yeah, and tonight's going to be, even should be more exciting. It's a complete sellout tonight, and it's a gold out. And so we're gold. And you know what I did, Kevin, last night?
No.
How dumb am I? And I'm gonna do it again tonight.
Okay.
Because of this. Tonight's a gold out, right? So I've got kind of a goldish tie.
Okay.
That I play. I wore it last night.
All right.
Thinking gold out was last night. And support everything. And
so you got to wear it again tonight, right?
Got to wear it. I'm gonna wear it tonight. So. Anyone who sees it, you can give me. Did you wear that tie last night? Yeah, and I'm wearing it tonight. But maybe it's, and I'm not really superstitious.
Okay.
But I wear the gold tie. They win. Got to try to get another win.
Hopefully you never take it off again.
Gold tie.
Yeah, maybe that's the magic elixir. Yeah. A quick text here, 64686 from the 763 area code. Can you talk about the Mooney kid? Seems really good, fast, smooth, best skater on the ice? ?
He is so much fun to watch. He does, he's only like 5'0" and X amount of pounds, but his ability to just maneuver on there, he stops on a dime, and you think he's going to go one way, and he does a little shimmy, and he just creates space for himself, and made a great play. First he had the one-timer goal, power play in the first period, and then he set Brody Zemer up. Brody Zemer played a great game also last night. Zemer makes the hit in the corner. Puck comes loose. Wisconsin tries to dump it. Mooney busts his butt back to the blue line so it doesn't get out of the zone and just whips it towards the net. And Zemer, did you see that tip, Brett, that Zemer made? It was on his backhand, and it went top shelf over the glove of Hauser, the goaltender, who played really well for the Badgers last night. But yeah, goal and assist for Mooney last night. And listen, just like the Wild, you need your big guys to produce. Yep. And Zemer did last night. Lamb had an assist on the power play, and Zemer had a goal and assist or something, whatever. But those guys came through, and so. And that has to continue,
Rematch tonight, 6:00. Is there a pregame?
6:00, yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. 5:30 pregame, I assume?
5:30 pregame. Jim Rich and myself.
Fox 9 again? Not the Plus, the big stick? Fox 9, right?
That is a great question.
That's what I saw. That's where you were last night. I'm pretty sure you're Fox 9 again tonight.
Okay, thank you.
With Jim Rich and Pat Micheletti.
Yeah, tune in because we have a lot of fun with that.
5:30 pregame. You guys were on for a long time after the game, too. I didn't listen to a word of it, but I'm sure it was great.
We have 19 segments for our post-game show.
Good for you guys.
Not that many, but no, we have a little post-game show also.
So make sure to check that out again at Fox 9, starting at 5:30. Puck drops at 6:00. You can also hear it on the radio. If you want to hashtag new TV, you could, and listen to Wally Shaver and Company on News Talk AM 1130 and FM 103.5. 6:00. Gophers taking on the Wisconsin Badgers.
And Jim said to say hello to you too.
Good. Hi, Jim. Good to have the hello. Let's squeeze in a break, and then when we continue, we're going to talk to Tony Scott.
Get the Hibbing High School
Youth Hockey Hub. We'll get an update on what's going on with Hibbing Hockey. We got lots of Wild talk coming up, and I even got a pair of tickets to see the Wild and Canadians coming up on Monday. The final home game before the Olympic break. It's a 6:30 puck drop Monday night from St. Paul. If you want tickets, we need some talkbacks. Let's do that on the free iHeartRadio app. You can also text at 64686, but I love those talkbacks. We'll work those up through the show, and someone's going to get a pair of random tickets to see the Wild and Canadians on Monday night. If you want your own tickets, you can go to wild.com/tickets. More Beyond the Pond after this on The Fan.
This is Kevin Gorg, and I'll give you hundreds of reasons to listen to Micheletti.
Whoa.
Hundreds. It's Beyond the Pond on The Fan.
Keep those talkbacks coming on the free iHeartRadio app. You can also text us at 64686. Lots of opportunity to talk about hockey for the next 2 hours, right up until 12 o'clock. Next hour, lots of Wild conversation with Michael Russo of The Athletic and TheAthletic.com, plus Bill Guerin, not only general manager of your red-hot Minnesota Wild, but also the general manager of Team USA right before they head off to Milan for the 2026 Winter Olympics. Are you gearing up, Patrick? It's going to be so much fun.
I'm so excited, for all of the sports. It's just great TV to watch, right? Yeah. I mean, it really is all the events and I'm really looking forward to.
I don't know
what's your favorite.
Oh, it's going to be the hockey, but if you're saying outside of hockey, the skiing's always fun. Any of the skating stuff, really.
I like the snowboarding.
Yeah, that's fun. I couldn't imagine
the talent.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Call me crazy. I like the speed skating also.
It's kind of like watching racing, just circles. But I get it.
Circles, but it
is. Nothing beats the drama of the Olympics, for sure.
And before I won't forget. Big shout out to the St. Thomas Tommies.
Oh yes.
Is it 8 or 9 in a row? Oh, it's 10.
10 in a row. Jeez.
10 in a row for the Tommies, and Rico Blasi's really got his team going. They might have the best player in the conference in Lucas Wallen, who's just a stud. They're on top of the CCHA.
We might have to give Mr. Blasi a holler next week. Get him on the show.
He's been on, But
I know, but
have him on again, right?
Some kudos for sure.
And I'm sure he will jump right on. He finds a way to get on. So. he will. We'll give him a call.
That'll be fun. That's something to put in the back pocket.
I don't want to jinx him, though.
For next week. Yeah, that's true. They're playing well, though.
Yeah, they are. Yep, and in that beautiful new arena. And
have you been there yet?
I have not.
I haven't either.
No, I haven't. I have a feeling I might be there because I'll be calling the CCHA championship game. I have a feeling that it might be there.
Yeah.
So
good stuff. I look forward to checking that out.
Congrats to the Tommies.
Yep, congrats indeed. Let's go to the hotline. Long-awaited debut, but it's been a while since we talked to Tony Scott.
I got a bone to pick with him, too.
Well, he's on the line. Hi, Tony. Good morning.
Ooh, I like bones. Let's go, Pat. Throw it down. What do you got?
Well, and I can't disagree with your selection because they were great, and they're probably some of the greatest players to ever play in the state of Minnesota. Your best line ever in the state.
Oh, here we go. I love this.
Love it. And there were quite a few, and you picked the Broughton, Butsy Erickson, and Aaron Broughton line. Can't complain about that at all. However,
all right, who's number two? I want to hear who number two is.
Well,
are we going Hooper, Micheletti?
I didn't say anything. You did.
I like that. That's a pretty good alternative, let me tell you.
You know, I think we each had over 80 points our sophomore year. Sophomore.
That's impressive.
Sophomore.
How did he do? Did he make his case, Tony?
Can I make a case for that? Can I make a case for that or not?
That's a pretty good case. I'll give you that. That's a good case.
I mean,
I'll tell you a story. I was in the Memorial Building maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And one of the Hooper twins was working there. And
he's driving the Zamboni.
There. I'm like, Scotty, do you know who this guy is? And he goes, yeah, it's Mr. Hooper. But he had no idea what a great player he was back in the day.
No, seriously, I kind of tongue-in-cheek with our line. But there were some great lines that throughout the years that, I can't think of, the names of. I mean, there's plenty of names, right? But were there any others that were candidates, or did you just go right to the top with the Broughtons?
I went straight to the top. I was quizzing my younger podcast mates on high school hockey, and I wasn't necessarily quizzing them on our era, Pat, but just in general, trying to get them to get more dialed into some of the great history we have here in Minnesota.
Yeah. Well, it's been a while since we've had the opportunity.
One of the questions was Greg Stutz, the only player to have a shutout in all three state tournament games. That was in 2003, so it wasn't like it was going back to the 70s.
Right.
All right, so what have you been up to? It's been a while. We've had a couple of shortened shows, and unfortunately, you got the short end of the stick. What have you been up to in the last couple of weeks since we last chatted?
Well, last weekend we hosted the Squirtacular up in Blaine. 104 teams, 214 games.
Jeez. Unbelievable.
The pin over 100,000 pins in the pin trading circulation. It's pretty fun to watch these kids whip them around pretty quick. They're almost better at pin trading than hockey, some of those kids.
Who won it? Who won the Squirtacular?
It was a good story. Andover won it for the first time, and Andover has been like the hard luck Squirt A program in Minnesota when it comes to the Squirtacular. They've had some devastating losses, so to watch them win is pretty cool. They had a great goaltender, a girl by the name of Annalie Klingelholtz. She came up huge in the semis and the championship, and then the top line of Meyer and Moyne were on Heim were unbelievable. Fun group of kids. And fun to see them finally get their first championship.
So from the Squirtacular, and then last night you're up in the Iron Range?
Yes, I was. I was in Virginia for Friday Night Ice. We hosted a game up there between Rock Ridge and Grand Rapids. Now listen to this, great story. Senior Caden Osmondson scored his second goal of his career, and it's the game winner in a sold-out barn to lift the Wolverines to the championship.
How is that? I haven't seen the new building in Virginia. How is it?
It's spectacular, Pat. As cool as the Miners Memorial was, I was talking to some people last night. They were saying, for us to renovate that thing, all the money we got in the sales tax, it still wouldn't be half as nice as this. All the bells and whistles are unbelievable. They have an event center right next door where they have weddings and banquets and use it for business. It's an unbelievable facility. It's as nice as you can get up there. It's not the Memorial Building, but pretty damn nice.
Give us your weekly update on boys high school hockey. What's the latest on that scene?
Well, we have to talk about Hibbing, right? So last night, the Hibbing boys showed up, and I become good friends with these kids. You know, they've been in the winner's circle and Pee-wees and Bantams their whole lives, so I chatted them up. They're pretty pumped up for the playoffs, and a kid from their team, sophomore. He's a sophomore, speaking of 80 points a game.
Yeah.
He's a sophomore. Cole Swanson just got his 100th point this week.
Unbelievable.
He's only in midway through his sophomore year. It's pretty impressive.
What else you got on the boys scene? Outside of Hibbing.
Today,
he wasn't done talking about Hibbing, Kevin.
Sorry.
Yeah. Hibbing, number one, Hermantown in AA travels across state to play Moorhead at 5 o'clock tonight. That'll be a great hockey game. I'll have my eyes peeled on that one.
Awesome.
That'll be a really good game.
How about on the girls' side?
On the girls' side, pretty cool moment tonight. Gabby Hughes will have her jersey retired at the Centennial Hill-Murray game tonight. Gabby, well documented. She helped start the mental health nonprofit called Sophie Squad, a girl that she had coached through Skate to Excellence. And then listen to this, Pat. You'll love this, speaking of points. I did some research this morning. 500 points in 10 seasons. She played 5 at Centennial, and then she had a COVID year at UMD. So you add up her 286 at Centennial and her 214 at UMD. That's a lot of points in 10 years.
Yeah, holy smokes. All right, well, that would be something to keep an eye on as well. I'm guessing you have some inside information on what's going on at Lakeville South. Sounds like Josh Storm has been put on administrative leave as their head coach. What's going on with that?
Well, I have verified that Josh has done nothing illegal. So any of those people out there going, ooh, I wonder what he did. I think this is a matter of, player, he said, she said kind of thing, player and coach. And it's too bad because Josh has led the Cougars to say 3 out of the last 4 years. He's a very dedicated coach. It's too bad that he'll be probably out for the rest of the year. Hopefully he can get things straightened out, be back on the bench next year for the Cougars.
Is that a suspension from the administration, or did he leave on?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Well,
yeah, so he was. From what I heard, I have not documented this with Josh, but from what I heard, he was taken out of the classroom this week and walked out of the building, which is really unfortunate. It shows you the grave nature of what's going on. But from what I can tell, no illegal activity has been done by Mr. Storm. I've had a great deal of respect for Josh.
All right. Well, thank you for the update on that. Thanks for everything on the update for Youth Hockey Hub. If we go to youthhockeyhub.com, what will we see today and this week?
You're going to find 6 weekly podcasts. You're going to find now rankings. You're going to have you name it. You're going to find information on youth hockey from Squirts to Pee Wee's High School.
Outstanding.
Awesome.
Tony, thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Have a good day, guys.
Yeah,
all right, see Tony Scott, Youth Hockey Hub. Find him online. Find him on the X Machine.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and of course, he feeds the animal, and all he does is give you those Hibbing updates, and especially when they're playing well. What a fun conversation for him.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, just tease it up for you. I love it every week. By the way,
you know what? I hope he. There's a picture.
Yeah,
I think you've seen it.
I have.
Yeah, I hope he cleaned it. What?
Got out the pledge and a little.
Well, yeah, right.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're doing that. Well, 200 miles away.
Yeah, I know.
What I know.
I know it. Well, hopefully someone's taking care of that. By the way, we've been corrected by a number of sources. Not only did the St. Thomas Tommies double up Michigan Tech last night 4-2, that's 11 consecutive victories.
My apologies.
Yep. So they're back on the ice.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Hey, doesn't matter. They are.
A wagon, like you say.
They're away. Is that the kids say that, right?
The kids say that. They say a lot of things.
What the heck's a wagon?
The rematch coming up tonight, 7:07 in the Central Time Zone. St. Thomas taking on Michigan Tech. So a good opportunity to see some more local hockey.
Michigan Tech's a really good team. I encourage people to go see that game.
Outstanding. All right, we are a half hour in, and now we take another quick break. And then when we continue, are you ready, Patrick?
I can't. I can't. I get so nervous, and then we.
Your back is to him, but his smile is ear to ear.
Yeah, I can't wait. I wonder if 17's going to be in this.
It will not.
Of course, we are talking about Brett Blakemore's breakaways. That's next on Beyond the Pond.
I'm Jonas Brodin of the Minnesota Wild, and you're listening to Falness and Micheletti on Beyond the Pond right here on The Fan.
So, what do we think about the Wild going into the second half of the season here? Got the Olympic break coming up. Hopefully we can get some of these guys that are injured rested up and back just in time for the playoffs. But, I mean, to me, this team looks like they really could make a run. I mean, I know the playoff format kind of sucks. We're probably going to play Dallas or Colorado. But, what do you guys think? Do you think this team can go far in the postseason? Joe from Minneapolis.
Thank you, Joe from Minneapolis. Yeah. A good start to our Talkback feature. Keep those coming. Someone's going to get a pair of tickets to see the Wild and Canadiens on Monday night. Remember, it's an early start time, 6:30 due to national TV, I do believe, on a national spectrum. So regardless, 6:30 puck drop from Grand Casino Arena. Officially, I think the puck drop will be 6:45. They're doing a special send-off for all the Olympians. So that should be a cool moment before they drop the puck on that one.
Are they doing the Canadian guys that are going to, or just the Wild guys?
Well, the Wild don't have anyone going from Canada or going to represent Canada, so it'll be
the Canadian, the
Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, the Montreal Canadiens.
No, I think it'll just be the Wild representation. Okay. Yep. So
do you think Cole Caulfield will be added to that team or not?
You tell me.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's nice to see Marcus Johansson on the Swedish team.
That's one. I'm curious. Like Jack Hughes is out again, right?
Yeah, they haven't said that his Olympics are in peril at this point, but, just same thing with Quinn last year going into the Four Nations tournament. Now, brother Jack is on the sidelines, at least for now. They haven't said how serious it is. Yeah. I don't think and I don't think Bill will even be able to talk about it later. It's not up to him to disclose that. And I know that's what he's going to say, because I remember asking about Quinn last year, and it's the same thing. It's, this is on the Devils to figure out what's going on with him, and then if he's available for the Olympics. But that would be too bad, because that's a central piece to the American lineup for sure.
One more question before we get to Brett. Do you think the Wild had to communicate with the Swedish Olympic team about Brodin?
Well, just saying that he's not available? I'm sure Brodin told him. Right? Because Brodin made the decision either.
Brodin had surgery, we know that.
Right. So he had to make the decision, do I want to deal with this? From my understanding, do I want to deal with this all season long, go represent Sweden in the Olympics, and then come back?
I'm just curious if, they're involved in it at all. Probably not.
I don't think so.
Because they're under contract with the Wild.
I would think this is a Jonas Brodin decision. And everyone else just, and that includes Team Sweden. Those are the cards you're dealt. This has to be huge for Brodin to not be able to go. What a blow for him.
He needs rest anyway.
It's the absolute right decision to not go and get recovered, and especially from a Wild standpoint,
can't afford to lose
him there in your top four.
Can't afford to lose him.
What he does for that top six for your defensive core, in my opinion, when he's healthy and you've got Faber and Hughes at the top, you've got Spurgeon and Brodin, your top six, your best six defensemen when they're all healthy is the best defensive core in the National Hockey League, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's right up there. That's for sure.
Brodin's a big piece of that.
Huge piece of it. Yes.
So hopefully he can get this out of the way. They said 6 to 8 weeks. I think it's been about a week and a half. So we get through the Olympics, and then he's ready for the stretch run, and then hopefully a lengthy run in the playoffs.
Okay, we'll talk more about that later.
Yes, we will.
We'll get to...
we got Russo coming up at the top of the hour, Bill Guerin in about an hour from now. But right now, it's Brett Blakemore's Breakaways.
It's time for Brett Blakemore's Breakaway.
Here's a break. Kaprizov in alone. Nobody going to catch him. Kaprizov, score!
And now, Blakemore's Breakaway.
Good morning, Brett.
Good morning, Kev. How are you?
I'm good. Are you ready to go? Are you feeling safe and secure there in your little studio?
Music.
I feel good.
This is what I get pumped up for this music every week.
I think this is the most time.
No shot at you.
No, it's fine. I think this is the most time I've had for breakaways.
Well,
let's go.
We might stop early so we can get to Russo early.
I've got plenty of them.
All right,
here we go.
Give her hell.
So I went to the border battle last night. I did dust off. I had to find a Badger hockey jersey and blow all the dust off of it. And
I thought you were going to say I thought you said you cleaned my mural.
He went to Mariucci wearing a Badger jersy, though, Patrick. Isn't that slapping your face?
Not my first time either.
Richard.
Call me not surprised.
I don't really, to be honest, I grew up a Badger fan. I don't really I didn't walk out of there devastated. They didn't play very well at all. But the guys behind me, there's a group of like frat guys.
Yeah.
And they kept trying to just get me going. We score the first goal, and it's the pop fly, the completely fluke goal. And they immediately start going, who's got the axe? Huh? Who's got the axe? I'm like, okay, like, you got it. Our football team stinks. But then they kept saying this, and you hear it all the time, see it online, better dead than red, which, of course, is the Red Scare, the 50s, blah, blah, blah. But better dead than red. I'm here to tell you, I don't know how to break this to Gopher fans. Maroon is red. You are red. Maroon is a shade of red.
Are going too deep on that. I
mean, you can't say better dead than red if you yourself are red.
No, it's a different shade of red, and I totally agree with Gopher Nation that it's better dead than red.
But you're red, so you should be dead.
No, it's not the same.
No,
it's maroon and gold.
Maroon is a shade of red.
Can't believe you
Are we
wore
going to get to breakaways?
I can't believe you wore a Badgers jersey in a Mariucci.
Richard. Times. Red is maroon. Maroon
so
is
we
red.
Didn't have a question there. Yeah.
I don't think I have to have a question. I just wanted to point out that maroon is. I also watched the new Miracle documentary that came out yesterday.
Can't wait.
So I'll tell you, and then there's no spoilers that already happened.
Yep.
So you know how it goes. The interviews and the testimonials from players was cool. There's not a whole lot of new stuff that I didn't, because I've watched Miracle hundreds of times. The only thing new is that Steve Januzak, he married one of the interpreters at the Olympics. I didn't know that. Other than that, but it is solid though, and I can't believe how good the movie did, because half of the stuff that they said was like behind the scenes were scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
That, McClanahan getting hurt and Herb calling him a candy ass and telling him to get back. Real thing. So
you recommend the documentary?
I highly recommend the documentary.
And it literally just came out yesterday.
Yeah, going to watch it today.
All right, it's on my list as well. Well, maybe we'll have a full review next week.
All right, I have one more silly breakaway before we get to in-depth wild questions.
Okay.
I went to the Wolves game on Friday. I'm going all over the place.
This seems like a documentary right here about... Go ahead.
No comment. And I saw Crunch, doing his thing, doing his normal bits. And so I just turned to my gal and asked, who wins?
Foligno.
Not Foligno. Who wins in a fight, not to the death, but just maybe a UFC fight? Nordy or Crunch? And I put it on Twitter.
And Foligno won.
60% of the votes went to Crunch. I'm saying Nordy's a little more scrappy than that, don't you think? He's got a mullet, for God's sake.
We've wasted 5 minutes now. I'm waiting for a breakaway.
Let's see.
You guys are no fun. You guys are no fun.
A fictional fight to the death between Nordy and Crunch.
I wanted to have fun. You guys don't want to have fun.
No, I'm all about having fun. I'm going to pick Nordy.
Hey, you can't put a price tag on fun.
Nordy will fight dirty.
Not.
Let's go with Nordy.
Fun's in the eye of the beholder, I guess. So, the Wild have been in the same amount of... I can't remember the exact stat. They've been in overtime games the same amount that Winnipeg has won, or some stat.
21 times this season. They've gone past regulation.
And now we'll go to hardcore Wild talk. Does that concern you, that how much they're going into overtime and not winning games in regulation? Nope. 2 points is 2 points.
Nope.
Doesn't bother me at all.
Doesn't bother me at all. And it's 5 minutes.
I've heard some.
And 4 guys play. 5 guys play.
That doesn't bother me at all. They had some issues in the shootout. I hate the shootout regardless. They had lost like 3 straight, and they finally won the one this week.
And who scored it?
Against Chicago's Kirill Kaprizov, the only shootout goal.
The guy who's struggling?
I'll tell you this much.
66 points in 55 games, 29 goals. The guy that's struggling?
Yeah.
The guy that we expect 5 goals a game from every night?
He had the shootout game-deciding goal. A couple of games before that, he had 2 goals, including the overtime winner. I think anyone who was worried about him cooling off, he's silenced those skeptics for sure. But I will say in that shootout for Chicago, they had 3 attempts, only 2 ever left a stick.
Yeah.
2 of them didn't even get a shot off.
Yeah.
Donato had a really good one.
Was it Donato who put it in between the legs, but the angle of it made it go wide.
What a player.
And Volstad made the save, and he got to do his...
played well for Chicago. He has played well.
They didn't need him. I wanted him on the top line.
I know you
said
did.
It in breakaways.
Yeah, you
there
did.
he is, and he's scoring goals. We talked a lot about Volstead. I'm running through these breakaways
You're getting
speed.
ripped by the text line, too,
Yeah,
by
that's
the
fine.
way.
No, we don't want to have fun here.
Brett's a Packer fan. We know he's not very intelligent. Maroon is maroon. Incredible use of airtime by Brett there.
Maroon is red. It is a shade of red. Right. It's undeniable.
Carry on.
You guys are no fun. We've talked a lot about Volstead and potentially getting traded. I've got another target that I'm concerned about later in breakaways, but just overall, how realistic? Be honest. It's a great story. We would love it if he came back and came out of retirement. We love Flower. He's the best. But really, can a guy just come off the couch? I know he's been skating with the team in some practices and filling in, but essentially you're coming off the couch and going into an edge. Is it really possible that Flower could come back?
So here's the backstory here, Patrick, just for the listeners that haven't kept up on it. America's favorite blogger, Michael Russo, and his cohort, Joe Smith, in The Athletic and TheAthletic.com, put out the speculation that, if Volstead was traded somewhere, because he's the big chip that you have left in your arsenal to get a big fish there leading into the trade deadline, well, then you have to figure out who's going to back up Philip Gustafson. And their speculation would be the potential of Marc-Andre Fleury coming out of retirement, coming out of the rafters, coming out of the cobwebs, and putting on that Wild uniform and filling that void. He doesn't have to move. He knows the organization. And he'd probably play a handful of games down through the rest of the regular season and be there just in case you need him in a nice playoff run. Your thoughts on the potential of, first of all, trading Jesper Volstead, second of all, Marc-Andre Fleury coming out of retirement to help him out?
I think it's always difficult to leave the game, and you always have that itch to come back. But I think he also said that, he's retired. And, he went through the league and they honored him, and rightly so. The guy deserved, he's awesome. It all sounds nice and all that kind of stuff. I just don't think he would do it. Only if they were in a complete major pinch and they begged him to come back. But personally, I don't think he'd do it. It'd be a great story and a lot of fun, and he'd be welcomed, and no issue. But I don't know. I just think that he retired and he was ready, and I think that'll be the way it is. But
physically, I don't think it would be an issue. Physically, I think he could do it and pick up where he left off.
Yep.
I've watched him in these practices. He was out there again on, it must have been Thursday morning.
I don't doubt it either.
That part wouldn't be a problem. I think it'd be mentally getting over the hurdle of saying goodbye to the game and then coming back and did have all those goodbyes last year and then resurrecting all those emotions. I don't know. He hasn't said no, though. No. He hasn't said absolutely not. I am retired. Forget it.
He's doing the right thing by not,
keeping his options open.
Got to keep it there.
I really don't know that there's another situation out there that would grab his attention like the potential of.
And we
coming
don't
back
even know if Volstead's going to get traded. That's all.
There's a lot of hypotheticals.
I don't think it's come out of Bill Guerin's mouth that I'd consider shopping him. That's people.
So then the other part of his question is: are you open to the possibility of moving a Jesper Volstead to bring in another top line center, another top six forward, something to that effect? I'm not asking Bill Guerin. I'm not asking Michael Russo. I'm asking Pat Micheletti. Yeah. Are you open to moving Jesper Volstead for the right deal?
It'd have to be the right deal, and there's so many other factors. You got to look at and then if we have to, extend this player, that we do have coming in, but this guy's going to be a free agent. And we wouldn't have enough money to get the guy that we really, really want. Yep. And so I think there's a lot more to it than just saying, we're going to trade Volstead for this guy. However, if there was a guy that they thought could really fit, that could really get them to be considered a team that can win the Cup, then you don't have many times to win opportunities to win the Cup.
Where's the Micheletti meter on Jesper Volstead, the player, right now? Because we know it's been a roller coaster for him in his career in the NHL. Last year was an abomination. He'll be the first one to admit it. Got through that and came out on the other side of it smelling like roses. His start to the season was fantastic. The last dozen, on the other hand, it's been a little bit come back to earth style. The game against Chicago is a great example of that. pretty bad in the first half. The entire team was.
Yeah.
And that third goal was a softie. While down 3-0, they climbed back, and they got back into that hockey game because Jesper Wallstedt played great from that softie on, including in the shootout where he didn't have to make really the 2 saves, but then he stopped Donato to seal the victory. Where is the Micheletti meter? Copyright Kevin Falness on Jesper Wallstedt.
Well, I'm going to, again, going to get ripped, and that's fine. I don't mind. I'm not worried about Jesper Wallstedt. Yep. I'm not worried about him. Again, when I look at goaltenders, and I've always, you know me, Kevin, I think it's hand in hand with how are you defending, and have there been some soft ones? Not going to deny that. There has been, but I think it goes hand in hand. And the majority of the games, he's been fabulous. Yep. And so I'm not going to worry about him going forward. I'm not. He competes, and he's been great for this team. They've been a 1-2 combination. So again, I'm not worried about him.
Not worried about Jesper Wallstedt.
And then they're going to, can't you rip him? Why don't you rip him? Well, I'm not going to rip him because he's been great. Just like 97.
Another hypothetical for you from the text line. We already discussed Crunch versus Nordy. From the 612 area code, Patrick, who wins between Captain Crunch and Count Chocula?
That's a tough one. How difficult. Hey, it's a toss-up.
Brett?
We should rename the segment Blake Moore's only approved specifically hockey questions.
Not at all. I love that you're having fun with it.
Was that question for me or for Brett?
That was for both of you. That was for the world.
That was
another hypothetical.
You know what? That guy deserves tickets.
We'll put him in the running.
Put him in the running.
What do you got, Brett?
I don't know if I even want to continue now at this point.
Come on, we're having fun.
I agree with you. I wouldn't want to trade Wallstedt unless if it's like a big fish.
Okay,
like blows my socks off
and
trade.
Who is that big fish?
I'm going to throw out random names that I've seen speculated online. Brady Tkachuk.
Not going to happen.
Hughes.
Not going to happen.
Well, thanks, Captain Positive.
Well, I mean, there's
those
no
do
chance.
seem very unlikely.
How about Nico Hischier? Is it? No. How do you pronounce it?
Nico Hischier? No.
Hischier.
Well, the name I was gonna throw out that I'm not crazy about is Trocheck, which is someone we know Guerin likes. He put him on Team USA. I know he plays a role, but I don't think that's the guy. That's not the big fish that's worth giving up a potential franchise goalie for. What's your Vincent Trocheck scouting
and listen,
report?
the Rangers would never trade for Wallstedt anyway because they have arguably one of the top 3 goalies in the league, right? And Shesterkin.
Yeah. That's 100% right.
If the Rangers want to throw Shesterkin in the deal,
Yeah. I know it's Brett Blakemore's breakaways, but I did look up some other names that were thrown out there as trade deadline potential targets. The one that I keep hearing a lot about is Robert Thomas from St. Louis, Patrick. 26 years old, $8.2 million, signed through 2031. If they are willing to give Robert Thomas away in a trade, are you listening?
I think the Blues have had enough of Billington, to be quite honest with you.
I can't believe he's going to be their guy in the Canadian
Thomas,
Olympics.
But I don't think it would have to be a bigger deal. And maybe 3 teams involved and that sort of thing, and the creativity comes in. But I like Robert Thomas, but he's not at the top of my list.
Here's a name.
Yeah.
Charlie Coyle, Columbus Blue Jackets, former Wild forward.
Yeah.
Also can play center. We know what he did with Boston.
Yeah,
we've tried to make it a number 1 center here before.
I don't think he'd be your number 1 center.
I think he'd be your number 3 center, to be quite honest, and that would be just fine with me. But then again, that's not a type of guy I would include Wallstedt in.
We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but I'll bring it up again. And seeing how the Wild just saw the Calgary Flames, Nazem Kadri, 35 years old. He signed through 2029 at $7 million a season.
He's a gamer.
Center ice position.
He's won a cup. Man, I'd love to get him, but he's got too much money left on his contract, doesn't he?
It's $7 million a year through 2029. So 3 more years.
And he's 37.
He is 35 years old.
35. You got to consider it. it all depends what the pieces are. It all depends what the pieces are.
I'll give you one more that I was surprised to see on this list. Shane Wright of the Seattle Kraken.
He's really been getting shopped.
22 years old, a restricted free agent in 2027. Can definitely play any position up front. In 2022 was the fourth overall pick. In 2022, they have him listed as a two-way center, both ends of the ice.
Yeah, and I don't know why his career started
22 years old.
Yeah, he started, and again, he's 22, right? And I think the expectations on a guy jumping into the league at 18 years old is really, really, really hard. So I think the upside there, no question about it, would be there. So, that's intriguing. That's an intriguing name.
You got one more for me, Brett?
Nope.
No, you're done?
Yep.
He said enough. I did want to get into one other thing, too, before we get to Billy and Michael Russo in the next hour. Patrick Kane, how about that?
Oh,
passes
congratulations.
Mike Modano, highest scoring U.S.-born player of all time. Now, 1,375 points in 1,300 games, whatever it was. Mike Modano, 1,374 points in just shy of 1,500 games. Patrick Kane all alone at the top.
Yeah, I mean, what a player, right? And so much fun to watch. And guess what? He's still playing at a pretty high level. Him and DeBrincat together is pretty good for the Red Wings.
Yep. And it feels like he is. Certainly, he's leveled off. He's not the Patrick Kane of old.
Of course not.
But it feels like he's still going at a high speed, as opposed to Jonathan Toews. He doesn't look very good these days.
Toews?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was against the Wild that one night, but no, I agree with you. When you stop playing for 2 years,
that's tough.
Really tough to come back. And Patrick Kane's still on the power play. Dangerous, very, very dangerous. And so, the Red Wings are fighting for a spot, right? And for them to get in the playoffs, and they haven't been in the playoffs in a long time,
yeah.
And so. Yeah, we'll see.
A very good team, no doubt, over there in the Eastern Conference. So it brings up the question, top American player of all time. Statistically, right now it's Patrick Kane. Mike Modano's on that list.
Right there.
Who is it for you?
Boy, I don't know. That's really, really, really hard because the U.S. has produced so many good players, but obviously, Modano and Kane are
Modano, Kane, Chelios, Housley, Broughton, Leach, Roenick, LaFontaine, Pavelski, Mullen.
Brian Leach was incredible player. So there's so many. I hate to. Yeah, this guy's the best ever.
You know who's number one on my list?
Who's that?
Bill Guerin. I'm just kidding. I'm just buttering up so everyone may have him on in about a half hour.
Yeah, he's not happy with you. I mean,
never is. Still. Who is, though? I know Brett Blakemore's not happy with either of us right now.
No,
he feels like we hung him out to dry.
Well, I was hoping for breakaways today, and I got a documentary on Crunch and who's the other guy?
Nardy's the other guy.
Okay.
Brett, you okay back there?
We got Bill Guerin. It's straddle time.
The studio is very dark. Let's take a break, and then when we continue...
Maybe Guerin can answer those questions.
Maybe.
Crunch or Nardy? Yeah.
Crunch or Nordy?
Oh, I Count Dracula. No.
Yes. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll get you Michael Russo of The Athletic and TheAthletic.com. That's next on Beyond the Pond.
This is Wild Captain Jared Spurgeon, and you're listening to Falness and Micheletti on Beyond the Pond.
Hey guys, I'm really excited for the second half of the Wild season. I think they're in great form. A lot of overtime games, but that's part of hockey, and at least we're winning a good chunk of them. And I think if it shook out the way it is now and we had to play Dallas in the first round, I think we'll be just fine. We got to, exercise them demons, get them back for everything they've done to us, including taking our North Stars. So I think the Wild are going to have a great second half.
Excellent talk back. Keep them coming on that free iHeartRadio app. Giving away a pair of tickets to see the Wild and Canadians on Monday night. Final home game before the Olympic break. Early start time. Make note of that. 6:15 pregame right here on the Fan. Puck drop sometime just after 6:30. A guy who will have a great seat from the Al Shaver press box. My close personal friend, Michael Russo of The Athletic and TheAthletic.com. You had a chance to talk to Brett before we went on the air, Michael. Is he doing okay over there? He wasn't too happy after Brett Blakemore's breakaways.
Oh, what happened? I missed that. Well, I talked to him very briefly, so we didn't get to...
breakaways is like hockey questions, deep, thought out questions.
I know what it is.
It's never been that.
Okay, yeah, you know it. Yeah, you've listened, right? Well, today we talked about who would win a fight between Crunch and who's the other guy?
Nordy.
You don't even know the Wild mascot.
So
anyway,
that's how that was. So,
how you doing this morning there, Michael, as you get ready to make the long journey over to Milan? I know you're excited for that, but are you nervous, trepidatious? Well, how you feeling?
Not nervous or trepidatious, more just like a little, like all of a sudden you realize how many stories you got to write here, just even the next couple of days that I've, of course, procrastinated on. So that's probably my biggest tension and anxiety right now as I'm sitting at my laptop trying to organize interviews and things like that. But I'm really excited to cover both tournaments. I'm covering both the women's hockey and the men's hockey. Really excited about getting there. I get there I leave Monday, get there on Tuesday, and I'll go right to the United States' practice. And I really think that this group of women have a chance to win a gold medal. They're bringing a team that is, to me, way more skilled, much younger, much faster than the Canadians have put together. And we'll see if what we saw at the 4 rivalry series games where they smoked Canada, if that's going to translate on the international ice over in Milan.
That's what I was going to ask you, is that you were at that rivalry series and it felt like they dominated that entire thing. That was all Americans, no matter where they played, here, there, or anywhere. So that has to make them feel like they're the odds-on favorite going into this tournament from the girls' side, women's side. Sorry.
Yeah, They hopefully they're not as overconfident as I am. Wait till you see our preview stuff that we have running in the next couple of days. You would think that there's no other nations that they're going to have to go up against. And I get it. It's a different battlefield over there, as Layla Edwards said so eloquently after the last game at the 4 Nations. And in a single nation, semifinal or finals, anything could happen, right? Bad goaltending and injury, things like that. But I just look at this team and they're so well balanced. Hillary Knight is still playing as well as she is. She's going to be on the top line with Carpenter. I mean, I've got to think they're going to come back with the Bilka, Heisey, and Abby Murphy line. And Abby and Heisey are just as good as it gets. And then you have, Kelly Panic and Schofield probably on the third line. I mean, when those two are on your third line, that's as good as it gets. And then they've got just some incredible blue liners like Edwards and Harvey and Steckline, who's still going strong at her age. So I just think it's, and a tremendous goalie in Frankel. So I just, love their team. And I've gotten, I've enjoyed covering women's hockey too, because John Rogalewski is so accessible to deal with. And they're almost, sometimes you feel like you're in the way when you cover the men's and the NHL, and these women are so appreciative of the coverage and giving access and talking and telling their stories. So I'm just looking forward to covering it. I've got a really cool story coming on early next week. So Ellen Hughes, Quinn Hughes, Jack Hughes, and Luke Hughes' mom is the director of she's basically an advisor on more than an advisor, but player recruitment development on the women's side. She's on the ice every day in practice. She is the liaison between Robo and the players. And absolutely, one of the biggest reasons why there are 3 Hughes superstars in the National Hockey League. And so I'm doing this really good, really cool and story just on her whole journey to get to this point. From a young girl growing up in Texas to having to play on boys hockey teams because there was no girls hockey down there, and then becoming an absolute star at University of New Hampshire and just, being in broadcasting to being in coaching to obviously raising her 3 sons. So it's going to be a really cool story that's going to run early next week.
How many Olympics have you covered, and do you get to enjoy some of the other events when you're over there?
I did so this is my third. In 2010, I did because I was just covering the men's hockey at the 2010 Olympics before they arrive. But as we'll see at this Olympics, the Olympics go on for more than a week before the men even arrive. So I covered luge, I covered skiing, aerials, things like that up in Whistler at the 2010 Olympics for the Strib. And then I got to cover, just the men's hockey. But I would say that once the men's hockey started, I got, complete tunnel vision. I think this Olympics will be much harder to really pay attention to anything else just because I'm doing women and men's. I think it's 23 games I'm covering, obviously a ton of practices, 2 rinks. So, and then, all the ski events we're talking 3-4 hours away. In fact, you don't even, you don't, if you're covering that, you fly into Venice compared to Milan where I'm flying to. So we're talking, Italy better than any of us who played there. So I just feel like it's going to be harder this time, but I think that's probably good just to keep my eye on the ball and what I got to cover.
Hey, let's face it. If you put 10 different general managers in a room and say that pick your team, well, you might have 5 or 6 that are different, right? I mean, there's players that are really, really good players that didn't make the cut this time. And, ultimately, this team and Bill Guerin and his staff are going to be, looked on after the Olympics. Did you make the right choices or not? I mean, how difficult do you think that is for, a guy like Bill Guerin picking this team?
I don't think it's difficult at all, or he would have made different choices. I think he's really stern in the way that he feels and his opinions. He totally gets that if they don't medal or worse, or don't win at all, that you're obviously going to be second guessed. I think that, I think the one thing that was bizarre to me, and look, I get it. I mean, I know that fans want Jason Robertson and Cole Caulfield there, but it almost took away from the fact that he added Tage Thompson and Clayton Keller plenty of offense, and they have Quinn Hughes healthy, which they did not have in the Four Nations. I mean, and we've seen with Minnesota, Quinn Hughes just offensively, the dimension that he brings is going to change everything for the United States there. I think when he looks at the camaraderie that was gained at the Four Nations, I think that he feels that guys like Brock Nelson, who I don't think anybody's second guessing that pick now. He's been one of the best players in the National Hockey League since Thanksgiving. But I think he looks at guys like JT Miller and Vincent Trocheck as being huge parts of that team. But I also think that when he looks at Team Canada right now, and God knows they have other formidable competition there that they're going to have to go up against potentially once they get to the medal round or the quarterfinals. I think he looks at Canada especially as you have McDavid, Makar, Celebrini, Crosby, McKinnon. These guys are playing at such an elite level right now that I think that he looks at it as like, let's try to slow them down with really good checking guys that can play myriad different roles, penalty kill, things like that. And so, but you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, if they don't get to what their ultimate goal is, which is a gold medal, he'll be second guessed for not bringing guys like Jason Robertson and Cole Caulfield. I don't think that Bill cares, though. He believes in his convictions. If he cared, he would have put J-Rob on the team. Yep. You could almost, call him naive or what, but the reality is that Jason Robertson's ticked he didn't make the team. He's going to be incredibly motivated to play the Minnesota Wild in the first round. And that we know is Bill Guerin's most important job. And yet that's not something that really entered his thinking in picking this team. And in a lot of ways, I respect that. I think in his mind is like, all right, so what, I put Jason Robertson on the team and he's going to take it easy against us in the first round. I don't think he thinks like that. Right. So I, we'll be, I think where the controversy just comes in is just the fact that JT Miller and Vincent Trocheck have not had good years at all, and the Rangers have stunk. So, we'll see where it goes. There still could be injuries. There's still, 3 or 4 games that some teams are playing. Jack Hughes is banged up with a groin strain right now. Yep. I think that Jack is going to be fine for the tournament. Obviously, he's, it's not going to be him that bows out. It would have to be somebody else that tells him to go. We know that Tom Fitzgerald's on Team USA's staff. But right now, what they're told is that it's a really minor groin strain and that they might just keep him off for a couple games here. But look, because of that, potentially somebody else, might have to be sort of on call here with it, whether that's Jason Robertson, whether that's Alex Tuck, or whether that's another center, because I do think Jack Hughes the plan is for Hughes to play center in the tournament as opposed to wing where he played.
Struggled there. He struggled in the Four Nations at wing, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, he did. And I do think that he's going to do everything in his power to make sure that he's there, and especially with Quinn on the team.
Do want to talk Minnesota Wild. We got Michael Russo, The Athletic, and theathletic.com. Wild and Oilers coming up tonight. 8:45 pregame right here on The Fan. But before we turn the page over to the Wild conversation, saw the tweet from Chris Johnston, I think it was yesterday, talking about the rink situation there in Italy. From what you've heard, from what you saw there, and maybe conversations with your colleagues, does it feel like everything's on track to be ready to go for the women's tournament, first of all, and then for the men when they start later in the month?
Yeah, cosmetically, it looked definitely great, and we're told that everything is starting to get together. The locker rooms are being put together, and and things like that. We'll see about bathroom situations and concessions and things like that. Press box. That's most important. Right. Yeah, I mean, right now it looks like that things are going well. Then it'll just be testing the ice conditions. I mean, one interesting thing that's going on there is that, so some of the women's teams, like the United States and Canada, from my understanding, they were actually supposed to have sort of, pre-mini camps, and like Canada was supposed to go to Switzerland. They've now all changed back to Milan. And I think one big reason is because the ice got so dirty during the test events, they had to shave it down, sort of redo everything. And so now this ice sort of needs to be tested again. And so I think that they've asked a lot of the women's teams to practice on the ice surface at the main rink. Most of the women's tournament is played at what they call MH2, and that's the secondary rink. And so far, from my understanding, there's been no issues at all there. It's been done for a while. It's sort of like a convention center that they put this temporary rink up. So we'll see how that is. But in terms of the main rink, most of the games are going to be the men's games and then the women's semifinals and finals. So, by that point, the rink should be in tip-top shape.
Hey, Michael, let's go to not necessarily the Wild, but the National Hockey League. And from what you're hearing and things of that nature, first of all, do you think that there's going to be a lot of deals that are going to be made either, pre-Olympic or right after the Olympic? Do you think there's going to be a lot of player movement?
I can see right after the Olympic. If everybody remembers in 2014, some Wild fans might have put this out of their mind as a bad nightmare. But if you remember, they got back from the second the Olympic trade freeze ended, the Wild traded for Marty Hansel.
Oh, yes.
And,
oh, boy.
Yeah, if you remember
and who's the other guy?
And unfortunately,
the other guy that they wouldn't take out of the lineup.
Yeah.
The winger.
Who was that? Ryan White.
Yeah.
Ryan White.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you remember, really what really triggered that trade was the last game before the Olympic break. The Wild played the Hawks at home, and I think Jonathan Taves had 5 points including overtime winner, and all of a sudden they're like,
and it was
Chicago.
Yeah, and they thought they needed a big center to handle Taves in the playoffs, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah. That's why they did it. And obviously it. But to your point, so there's a trade freeze that starts February 4th, and it goes until after the gold medal game, essentially. And in between, it doesn't stop you from talking.
Yeah.
And so, like, Bill Guerin, for one, is going to be over in Milan. He's got 4 other GMs on his staff,
right.
In Stan Bowman, Tom Fitzgerald, Bill Zito, and Chris Drury. And 2 or 3 of those teams are teams that are going to be looking to make moves. And then Canada's got 4 or 5 GMs, Dubas and Armstrong and all that stuff. So theoretically, there's not a lot for GM and to do over there. They could have just out of boredom, have face-to-face trade calls. So my guess is that, look, if there was one play, like a Panarin, if there's a lot of teams going after him, Panarin is really controlling the process. He doesn't want to sit forever. At some point here, he's probably going to agree to his extension with some team, and then it's going to be up to Drury to make the trade. My guess is that he is traded pretty quickly. But unless there's somebody that Bill Guerin or somebody else in the league is trying to get in front of the line on, most likely you want to wait till after the Olympics for 2 reasons. 1, to see if that player potentially gets hurt in the Olympics, and 2, to see what your health situation is coming out of the Olympics, meaning you're as all 32 teams. I'm not just talking the Wild. So, I think Bill Guerin is trying to size up the market. I think if the right deal came in place, he would have no problem doing it before the February 4th trade freeze. I don't think he, as we talked about, he doesn't worry about things. And I don't think he is worried necessarily about, if I, make this trade and then, it turns out to be backfired because he gets hurt or somebody else gets hurt. I don't think he worries about that. I think if the right trade is there, he would do it. And I think that he probably has the same philosophy as all 31 other general managers in the league. It's like, if the right trade's there, we'll do it before the freeze. Otherwise, we're content to wait till after the freeze, up until the March 6th trade deadline. So, I still am convinced that Bill's going to make some sort of move at some point, maybe some sort of moves, plural.
Yeah.
They certainly have been accruing the cap space. They're going to send some guys down, after the freeze too, to accrue more space.
Yep.
And they're going to try to maximize the amount of money that they have, that they could go out and make some moves. And then the question is, who is it that they bring in?
Okay. I think at least it shocked me when the Wild acquired Quinn Hughes. I think it blew everybody away, because I don't think a lot of people thought that was, even a thought. But that being said, obviously it looks like Minnesota, Dallas in the first round, right? I mean, unless something crazy happens, looks like it. So when Minnesota makes a move like that, does Dallas look at this thing and say, okay, they made this move, we have to do something now? Do you think that was the thought or the thinking of Dallas before we get to that trade deadline, that they have to make a move also?
Well, I think the addition of Quinn Hughes was in large part because the Wild are looking at Dallas and Colorado as like, we need to make sure that they, that we have we, meaning the Wild, not me, have somebody that's going to be on par with Heiskanen, McCarr, all that stuff. Get them on par of having one of the best defensemen in the NHL. And as we've seen, what he does to them offensively is like nothing the Wild have ever had before from the back end. From Dallas's standpoint, I think Dallas and Colorado, these teams are going to make moves too. I think they always plan to making moves. I don't think the Quinn Hughes thing is going to be what drives them to make some sort of new move to try to offset them.
Yeah.
I think that they've always looked for a right shot D. They've been on Panarin, but that doesn't sound like it's going to happen. The issue that they have is that they have to decide, Jason Robertson ticked off that he didn't make the Olympics, just fired his agent, which, by the way, happens to be Quinn Hughes' agent, and just hired Andy Scott, who represents both Mikko Rantanen and Wyatt Johnston. So clearly he wants a huge contract for Dallas, and I think that Dallas is trying to figure out. Remember, it was only a year ago that Dallas was entertaining trading Jason Robertson. So now they're looking at trying to re-sign him. And because of that, they really can't take guys like Panarin on extensions. So I do think at some point they're going to make moves. But I think it's just to try to, bulk themselves up to try to go on a cup run. I don't think it has anything to do necessarily like we have to offset Quinn Hughes. And Dallas is still a real formidable team. Might even be a tougher matchup for the Wild than if they were playing Colorado in the first round. Dallas is a team that just has the Wild's number, especially Ottinger. There's just something about him playing his hometown Wild that just makes him elite every time he faces them, especially in this building, by the way. So I just think that it's going to be a real interesting matchup. I think it's more so now that the Wild realize that you've made this Quinn Hughes deal, and now there's still, you look at this roster and you still have to feel that you're a top center away from being able to go on a cup run. And so that's why I'm more looking at what Bill Guerin's going to do. But I definitely think that Jim Nill in Dallas, and I think that Chris McFarland in Colorado, I don't think they're done either. And by the way, Colorado is another team looking at Panarin.
Oof, that would be not great for.
But they're sort of in the same boat, right? McCarr and Quinn Hughes are up at the same time. McCarr, they're going to set a new landscape for what the defense price is going to be, and so they've got to make sure that they have enough money to re-sign McCarr. So I don't think that they could take Panarin with an extension.
All right, so two-part question. Give us what you know about Jonas Brodin's situation. And my second part of this is profound or preposterous. When Jonas Brodin and the Wild defensive core are healthy, they're probably the top in the National Hockey League, top to bottom, 1 through 6, when everyone's healthy. Is that profound or is it preposterous?
No, I think it's profound. I think they're as deep with Brodin and Bogosian in the lineup. They're as deep as it gets. If you have a Brodin Spurgeon second pair with Hughes and Faber on your top and Middleton and Bogosian on your third, or a Hunt and Middleton, however you want to. Man, has Hunt been great.
Yep.
That's as good as it gets, as deep as it gets. In terms of Brodin, so he had this surgery that a lot of Wild players have had the last couple of years: Zuccarello, Foligno, Kaprizov. And his timeline is a lot less conservative than, say, Kaprizov's was. Kaprizov's timeline by the surgeon that did him in New York was well more than any other surgeon in history that I think has done these type of surgeries. So he went to the one that Zuccarello went to, same timeline, 6 to 8 weeks. And I give Jonas a lot of credit. I'm sure the Wild did a little pressuring here, but Jonas was essentially told, look, if you go to the Olympics and you continue to play with this issue, you are not going to get through the rest of the season. And our goal is to go on a cup run. And Jonas picked team over country. And I know that had to be really tough and disappointing for him. But this is the team that pays him. This is the team that needs him, and he knows that. And we might see that tonight in Edmonton, because we all know how much Brodin gives Connor McDavid fits up there. So, I give Jonas a lot of credit, but the Wild are convinced now that he will be back sometime by, mid to late March, probably, maybe even earlier.
If you had to guess, and I know it's only a guess at this point, but that's part of the fun of talk radio in particular, and those folks listening will love to think about the possibilities going forward. Who would you say has the best opportunity to land on this Wild roster between now and the trade deadline of all the names that you've floated out there? Who do you think is most likely?
I think Trocheck makes the most sense. And again, the fact that Chris Drury and Bill Guerin are going to be together, for, many, many weeks in Milan probably even makes that more likely. I think the Wild love JT Miller, but the term and the money is probably something that's not doable, where Trocheck is much more affordable. He's a right shot. You could put him on the bumper on the number 1 or 2 unit, wins draws. And we know that Bill Guerin has an affinity for him because he's put him on the U.S. roster now for 2 tournaments in a row. So I think he makes the most sense. I know that they love a Ryan O'Reilly. Their goal now, and the reason why Bill hasn't pounced yet, is that he does have aspirations of making a true number 1 center move. And to do that, you probably are going to have to trade a Jesper Wallstedt. But I don't know if that's going to be feasible before the trade deadline. There's just not a lot of those guys out there. And even if it's Robert Thomas, you trade Jesper Wallstedt down south to St. Louis for Robert Thomas in a package. And next thing you know, this summer, a Jack Hughes becomes available, or Kachuk becomes available. Now, all of a sudden, you're just kicking yourself for trading Jesper Wallstedt. Jesper's probably the big piece that can get this team that number 1 center. And so if it's not available now, I think you got to do other things to try to, just get better for the playoffs. And so I think Bill knows that he's probably got to be a little patient here. And so my guess is that he goes for a Trocheck and O'Reilly or somebody like that, even a Charlie Coyle, more so than probably getting that number 1 center now. But this is why he hasn't pounced yet.
Let's say, he can't get the big fish. I mean, our guys, I'll use Calgary, for example, a Backlund, a Coleman, guys like that are really solid pros who know how to play. Do you think that he would potentially trade for those second tier forwards?
I think he could. Yeah, I think there's always that chance, but that second tier forward could be a Coyle or Trocheck even. Yeah. I mean, Coyle to me is in that ilk, right? Yeah. And I love the way Coyle is playing right now, and I know for a fact that Bill Guerin loves Coyle. Backlund, I could tell you for a fact, I probably shouldn't say this, but I sat down with Backlund in Milan in August, and Backlund has made it extremely clear to me that he only wants to play in Canada. He's one of the rare guys. Wow. His wife loves it there. That's why he re-signed in Calgary. He wants to play in the new building. He's their captain.
Oh, he's a good player.
Yeah. Coleman, he's hurt right now, but that's always – the Kadri's the one I would stay away from. I really watched him the other night against the Wild. And, to me, he's not Nazem Kadri that won a cup with
Colorado. Yeah.
All right, Michael, thank you for your time.
Safe travels. Hey, Michael, if you have a day trip, you're an hour away. go to the city that I played in, Varese. You'll have a great time. I can set you up with people.
Yeah.
You know, they're great people.
You
there.
still have people over there?
Oh yeah, we're on a. You know, hey, that team that we were on, Jim Corsi, who you know very well, Michael. Brad Shaw was on that. Tony Curry, former St. Louis Blue, was my centerman. It was great. So if you have a day, get over there. It's right near Lake Como and Lugano, Switzerland, and so you can make a whole day trip there.
Yeah, I will definitely try that. We're going actually to Como this summer.
Are you? Okay,
so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. By the way, how come I don't get an hour like Kevin had the other day on Nordo with Nordon?
Yeah,
it's a never ending segment.
It's not like I begged to be on for an hour. He says, "Hey, can you join me for an hour?" I said, "Yeah."
Hey, FYI, I had to cancel that day. That's why Kevin was on.
Probably.
Was Brett the producer of that?
I think so.
Show.
Yeah.
Man, you had to have a migraine afterwards. I know.
We had the Sounds of Hockey live from Tree, and that's another thing, by the way. I'm sure you knew this, but I'm sitting there with talking to Nordo about 9:00 for the first hour of that show, and Quinn Hughes is out there for 45 minutes of it. Well, that's unbelievable. He logs 30 minutes of ice time. It's an optional practice. He's out there with Connor Beaupre for 45 minutes just doing his little dipsy doodles. That's why he is who he is,
right?
Crazy.
Yeah, that's why he is who he is. And, you know, and he exercises his options with the actual team, because then he's getting treatment and doing all sorts of stuff in the gym. I mean, he's a true pro, man. He is, some of the anecdotes that I have on him working on a lot of coincidentally Hughes stories. And you'll love this story that I'm going to do right before the men's tournament. But Keith Tkachuk actually billeted for 2 years, Quinn Hughes and Brady. Just imagine how that must have been.
Oh my God.
Some of the anecdotes are crazy.
Where would I read about that at?
That you would read that in The Athletic in the middle of next month.
Are you a subscriber, Kevin?
In fact, I am.
Like myself?
Absolutely.
Okay, just want to make sure.
I hope you auto-renew at the highest price ever.
I do. I won't tell you where I put that bill, but I do definitely pay that on a monthly basis. Michael, safe travels. Enjoy the evening tonight.
Have fun.
Mute TV, and we'll be watching.
And Pat, it was great to see you back on TV yesterday.
Thank you.
You looked awesome. You sounded awesome.
All right, Michael.
Appreciate it.
There you go. Michael Russo of The Athletic and theathletic.com. Read everything that he's got coming up for the Olympics starting this week. Crazy that
I can't wait.
Just 3 games left before the Olympic break for the Wild. Then everyone heads over the ocean, and it'd be great.
2-week break?
It's like 3 weeks. The Wild play on Wednesday, and then they don't play again until the 26th. And who do they open up against? On the road in Colorado.
Great name.
Yeah, welcome back to the ice, boys.
Hey, you want to win it, you got to beat them.
Right? All right, we got to take a quick break, and then when we continue, we've got Bill Guerin, general manager of not only the Minnesota Wild, but also Team USA. He's next on Beyond the Pond.
Hey, Wild fans, this is Marcus Foligno, and you're listening to the best hockey show on the planet, Beyond the Pond, right here on KFA.
Beyond the Pond continues on a Saturday morning. Coming up later on tonight, the Minnesota Wild in Edmonton to face off against the Oilers. Pre-game at 8:45 right here on FM 100.3 The Fan. Puck drops just after 9 o'clock with Joe O'Donnell and Tom Reed, a guy that'll be watching very intently, the general manager of not only the Minnesota Wild, but also Team USA, Mr. Bill Guerin. Billy, that's Pat Micheletti. I'm Kevin Falness. Welcome to Beyond the Pond.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome.
How are things in your world? I'm sure that it's hectic no matter what, even if it was just the Minnesota Wild, but you're on the verge of traveling overseas, heading over to Milan to represent the U.S. for the 2026 Winter Olympics. I'm sure things are at a fever pitch for you these days.
Yeah, it's been pretty busy the last couple weeks. But you know, like now we're just we're getting to it now, so it's slowing down a bit, but just excited to get over there and get going.
You have to be happy with the way that your team's playing. Give us an assessment of them, and the injuries that you guys have gone through, and the resiliency of winning games. You've got to be very, very happy with where your team is at right now.
Yeah, I am. I'm happy with the way the guys have played. Even the last couple of games haven't been, picture perfect or anything like that. But we've stuck with it, and the guys have kind of just battled through. And I think in years past, maybe we would have folded a little bit and, given into the pressures of the game. But, the guys have really become a resilient bunch. And, it's really nice to see.
Let me ask about one of your guys in particular. I don't think we've had you on the air since the trade happened, and now it's going on 23 games ago. But you make the deal for Quinn Hughes. You bring him over into a Wild uniform. I think for the casual fan, they didn't realize how special a player this was until you get to watch him on an every night basis. I'm guessing that you're pretty happy with the return you got in that investment. 27 points in 23 games and currently riding a 7-game assist streak. Billy, he's been so much fun to watch.
Yeah, he's really been dynamite. I mean, he's really worth the price of admission. I mean, just to see what he does out there, and some of the moves he makes are pretty dynamic. So I can see from a fan's point of view how exciting it is. And then from my seat, the production, the confidence that he gives the team. Everything that he kind of just brings to the table is really cool.
How much, Billy, does and this just maybe I don't know, gobblish, whatever. But how much does a player like that spark or bring other levels of players up a little bit just with his presence?
I think quite a bit, to be honest with you. I mean, just making the trade and then having them just walk through the doors, the guys, their energy level goes up, their confidence level goes up, their belief level, everything. Like, there's so much that he does for our team that those are things that you can't really measure on a computer screen or anything like that.
Let me ask you.
It's pretty cool.
Let me ask you about another guy then. Matt Boldy continues to make progress as he continues to establish himself as a superstar in the National Hockey League. We know what Kirill Kaprizov's all about, but it feels like Matt Boldy isn't only doing it in flashes; he's doing it on a continual basis. What have you seen from him as he continues to develop?
Yeah, I mean, again, he's taken his game to another level this year, and I mean, I've always been a big believer in Matt and what he can do, and I just think he continues to grow and mature, and he's become a really great player.
Let's move to the Olympics and the team that you assembled that will be heading to Milan very shortly. Are you happy with where you're at with your team, injury wise and all of that sort of thing?
I'm sorry, say that again, Pat. I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, just the, as you head to the Olympics and, as far as, the team that you assembled, health-wise, are you in pretty good shape heading over there?
Yeah, you know what? So far, so good. I mean, we had to replace Seth Jones, but we did with Christian Lacombe, who's a heck of a player. And I know Jack Hughes left the game the other night, but we're pretty confident that he's going to be okay. So, I mean, hey, look, we just want to get over the finish line here and hope that everybody stays healthy.
And that's the yin and the yang of this. You've got a vested interest in two guys in particular on that Swedish roster. Now you know that Jonas Brodin is not going to go represent Sweden, but Marcus Johansson gets the call. It's pretty special for him. I know that's a tough blow for Jonas Brodin, but what a cool moment for Marcus Johansson to see that dream realized.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool. I thought there would be an outside chance for JoJo, and thankfully it worked out for him. It's too bad for the guys who get hurt, but that's the way it goes. Honestly, we feel terribly for Broads. I mean, it sucks. There's no other way to put it. So. But and I'm happy for all the guys. It's pretty cool to have as many players as we do from our organization to be going to the Olympics.
Do you feel confident you'll have Brodin for the stretch run? Does the timeline work out?
I am. I'm very confident in that, yeah.
All right. When do you head to Milan? When are you heading out?
I'm heading out Thursday.
Oh,
so,
right.
I'm excited. It'll be, going out a couple days early just so I can get organized and,
eat some good pasta, and
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, you know what I was going to tell you? You're the meatball guy, and I make great red sauce. Can you imagine the Guerin Micheletti meal? Oh my gosh, we got to get it done, Billy.
A match made in heaven.
You got it.
Amazing.
Maybe we'll bring some over to Madonna, and we'll have a nice get together.
Yeah, that would be something.
All right. Hey, good luck over there, and keep it going.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Take care.
Billy. Bill Guerin, general manager not only of the Minnesota Wild, but also of Team USA, on his way to Milan to represent the red, white, and blue in the 2026 Winter Olympics.
Who are you picking to win it?
I mean, my heart wants to say the Americans, of course, but they're so the
Swedes are good, the Finns are good.
This is like trying to break down the Stanley Cup playoffs.
It's going to be a great tournament.
When you talk about the Wild, this is the best team they've had in franchise history, the deepest team they've had in franchise history. But this great team has to get past Dallas, has to get past Colorado, has to get past whoever is going there in the Eastern Conference. It's the same thing for the Americans. It's as good as it gets when it comes to American hockey these days, but they got to deal with the Canadians. You got to deal with the Swedes, the Finns, like you say, the Czechs. There's a lot of good teams out there.
It really is, because we only talk about gold medal games going to be Canada and the U.S. That is
no guarantee.
No guarantee.
And if you want a good example of that, go back to the World Juniors. That American team was pretty darn good, but so too were the Canadians. So too were the Swedes, the Finns. I mean,
the Czechs.
That's the thing about hockey. It's not a best of 7. It's a one-game tournament, and anything can happen once you get through the preliminaries.
100%.
So who are you picking?
I'm not.
You're not picking anyone?
I'm not. No. My sleeper team is the Finns. How about that? Just because of the way they play. They're down 2 goals, they play the same way. They're up 2 goals, they play the same way. They're a very systematic, very smart, well-coached team. And you know what? Just don't count them out.
Yeah.
So, but of course, the American team is awfully good. They're all good.
I'll tell you this much. Great. I would say the Canadians in a landslide, if I were a betting person, the problem I have betting on the Canadians is Binnington.
Yes.
And that's going to be their number one goaltender. That's going to be their Achilles heel.
Who's number one for the U.S.? I don't know. Is it going to be
It's got to be Hellebuck. I think it's Hellebuck. It probably should be Ottinger, but I think it's Hellebuck.
I'm on the Ottinger.
I am too.
Yeah,
but I don't think they are until they have to make that move. I think Hellebuck's the guy until he gives them a reason not to be.
I would venture to guess that would be the case.
Would you agree with me? For the Canadians, their Achilles heel is in
100%.
Now they have.
No, he was great in the 4 Nations.
Exactly.
Or lucky, whatever you want to call it.
And he won the Stanley Cup with the Blues in 2019. But this guy is not the guy anymore.
No, I don't think so either. I think the Blues want to move on from him. To be quite honest, if they could get, but that contract he's got is hard. Not a lot of people. What's he making? $8 million?
I don't know. I think I'd have a hard time putting my faith in him these days.
Yeah, I don't trust him.
2019.
I just don't trust him anymore.
All right, I'm going to squeeze in one more break. When we continue, we're going to do one more talk back. So you got an opportunity to use that free iHeartRadio app, and we will give away another pair of tickets. I've already given away a pair of tickets for Monday. I got one more pair that I'm going to drop in someone's lap for the best talk back coming out of break. You know how to do it. Is on that free iHeartRadio app. Wild and Canadians Monday night in St. Paul. Pregame at 6:15. Puck drops just after 6:30, and you can get a pair of tickets to be there and take in all the action. So do that now, and we'll wrap up the show next on Beyond the Pond.
What's up, fellas? Hope you're keeping warm on this frigid day. A day like today makes me think about having a Stadium Series game. How often will it be to be -10 out there running Calgary into the ground? But instead they give it to Dallas, and Vegas is going down there. Not too stoked about that, but Brady Tkachuk rumors too. Man, if there's some smoke to that fire, that would be amazing. Go Wild!
Go Wild indeed. On the ice tonight to take on the Edmonton Oilers. Pregame at 8:45. Another late one, as we got just 3 games left before the holiday break.
They always beat the Oilers.
Well, they always beat the Oilers. They play very well against them, but I think a big part of that is Jonas Brodin, because he limits Draisaitl, and not only Brodin, but also Eriksson Ek. That combination does a lot to slow down their high-flying, and I don't think McDavid likes seeing Brodin and Eriksson Ek out there. I don't think Draisaitl does either. No. But you don't have Jonas Brodin tonight, and I wonder how that plays into the matchup.
Good point.
So,
and, the Oilers are playing well, too. I mean, They've won 3 straight,
8-3-2 in their last 13 overall, won 3 straight on home ice.
And there's some games they struggle and maybe they just take the night off or what have you. I wonder what it's like. I wonder if people get on McDavid like they do here.
No. Are you kidding? He can't do any wrong.
Huh?
Connor McDavid right now, 34 goals,
but 94
he didn't score
points. But he didn't score in the last 2 games.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
55 games, he's got 94 points. It's just bizarre what he's able to accomplish. We don't have time to get into it, but when you talk about Connor McDavid versus Nathan MacKinnon, Connor McDavid is a special hockey player, special human being.
You know what?
I take him over McKinnon?
I take him over McKinnon, but guess what? If I want the what do they call it? The Hart Trophy?
Yeah.
That's going to Macklin Celebrini, in my opinion.
Man, I wish we had more time to get into this.
Yeah,
I want to get into the Gophers, though, before we only got a couple of minutes. Gophers, the rematch coming up tonight, 6 o'clock, 3M Arena at Mariucci.
But what's before that?
So much fun last night. The pregame at 5:30 on Fox 9.
I'm fine with myself and
Jim Rich.
Thank you. Yes, please tune in, and you'll it's going to be a great game tonight. The Badgers are going to obviously play better than they did last night, so the Gophers better be ready to play. And I think they will. I think they feel good about themselves. We'll see. It should be a fun one.
Should be a blast. Again, 5:30 pregame on Fox 9 featuring Pat Micheletti. If you care to hashtag Mute TV, you can also catch Wally Shaver.
Don't mute TV tonight.
News Talk AM 1130 and FM 103.5. What about, we mute TV when it comes to the Wild broadcast later on tonight?
Yeah, because I listen to you.
Well, I hope so.
And what time are you on?
8:45 pregame. Puck drops at 9:08, I think, tonight.
I'm going to try to make sure our game is over by then so I can rush to my car and turn you on.
Yeah.
With Joe and Tom, and
you guys have an extended post game. You guys might not be off the air by the time we start. So, good luck tonight.
Yeah, thanks.
Good to see your face, Alex. Thanks for bringing him in. Great job, Brett. Don't feel too terrible.
Brett,
we had a blast tonight.
Don't worry. Next week will be better. You'll be better.
Maybe you'll be begging me to bring up Foligno next week for breakaways after
Captain
today.
Crunch versus Count Chocodile. Who you got?
You got to go with the vampire, you think?
Yes, absolutely. All right. Thank you, Brett. Thanks for everybody. Thanks for listening. Another edition of Beyond the Pond is in the books. We're back next week, 10 to noon, unless I hear different. So hopefully you'll join us for that. And join us tonight for the Wild and Oilers pregame at 8:45 right here on KFAN. The best place to go for all your Minnesota Wild audio needs is the official Minnesota Wild podcast presented by Acrisure. Everything Minnesota Wild related, including highlights, press conferences, players, coaches, general managers, and more. It's available on the official Minnesota Wild podcast presented by Acrisure. It's all just a click away at wild.com/podcast.